Well, you
Olympics.
did say a lot of things while you were over at the Olympics about the Olympics.
I did. That Hawkins wouldn't stop harassing me.
And this morning you kind of talked about it a little bit too, that your eyes were kind of open. But I think a lot of people here kind of had the view that maybe you're thinking it's a done deal, the Olympics. Is it a done deal? Have they solved all your problems for you?
No, if it were a done deal, the deal would have been done, long ago. And I think that, folks who try to get a little bit of political advantage by saying, oh, this is already all cooked up. Frankly, if it was already all cooked up, we would have cooked it up. Why would we go through all this process? We're going through this process because we want to make sure that we are doing what's right for Calgary. And it really is important now for us to really determine whether or not we can get all the pieces in place and then determine if citizens think this is a good priority. That's the important part. Some folks are saying, oh, go to a referendum. Well, what do we have the referendum on? Do you like the Olympics? Do you like Tessa and Scott? The referendum, if there were one, had to be about this is how much it's going to cost. This is what we think we would get out of it. Do you think this is a good use of our funding and our efforts and our energy over the next little while? And we're not there yet. We're not there yet in terms of developing what that might look like. So certainly, Council and others gave me a big long list of questions to ask, and the most important of which was, do you think the IOC is sincere about reform? Do you think that a prospective bid from Calgary that is very cost effective, that doesn't lead to grandiose or legacy style projects, could actually succeed? So on that, yes, I am much more comfortable that they're serious about it. But that said, it's not really a relevant question, because as I've said before many, many times, if we move forward on this, we move forward on a bid that is honest, that is ethical, that is transparent, that is cost effective, that is quintessentially Canadian. And if that's not what people are looking for, then we won't win. And in fact, we might withdraw from the bidding.
Sorry, what questions didn't you get answered there?
Actually, no, I feel pretty good about it. At the very end, we had a sit down with Mr. Bach, the president of the IOC, and it was a Q&A, ask me anything kind of questions. And by the end of it, I really felt like, I think I've asked everything so that they can answer. And so the big question that's remaining is, are we in a position with our partners in the federal government, the provincial government, and the private sector to put together a funding package that I would feel comfortable bringing forward to council? And that will still require a fair bit of work.
Do you have a gut feeling about that? Because there were obviously the provincial politicians that were over there. The federal minister was there. No, she's quite new on the job. But
9 days.
What is your gut feeling about that partnership, at least right now?
I'm really glad that the feds and the province sent high-level representatives to ask and have answered some of the same questions that we went through. My sense is that the federal government has a very laid out, rigorous policy that they follow. They've done lots of international sporting events before, and that they will follow that, and that this proposal would look good under their existing policy. For the province, this is a different question, right? And they've really got to get their heads around whether they want to be here or not, and that's fine. And the decision will always be a joint decision of the three orders of government plus the Canadian Olympic Committee. Nobody's throwing anybody under a bus. It's nobody's fault if we move forward or if we don't move forward. It really has to be something that we decide together, and we're going to have a lot of conversations on that.
If you have to make a decision in July, will there be enough time to get input from the public?
There will be enough time, absolutely, to get input from the public. The question is, to what extent? And that's what I am still a bit concerned about, that if we are working towards an end of June deadline with the province and the feds, there might not be a ton of time once we actually have their data or their details in, should they want to move forward. But there are still off-ramps, right? We have to make a decision in June. There's another big off-ramp in October. So there will still be opportunities to continue to have that discussion if we want to move forward.
Why haven't we started with any sort of public engagement other than a survey a while ago, as we're trying to get other people on board?
Well, again, because public engagement at this point, where we don't really have any numbers, would not be that helpful. Because again, you don't want to generically ask people, do you like the Olympics? Do you like the IOC? You really want to get to people on this issue. You want to get to people with some specifics. I seen in the paper letters to the editor that say it's going to cost $12 billion. of course it's going to cost nothing close to that. And so we really want to make sure that the facts are clear as we move forward.
What shape does that public engagement need to take to satisfy you?
I don't know yet. I wish I had an answer to that question. I've often said that I'm not opposed to everything up to and including a plebiscite if the timing makes sense. But my key with engagement is always the same, which it has to be authentic. It has to really get to real people and not just the loudest voices. And there are lots of ways of doing that. The city is getting better and better at that. But obviously we need to have a good sense from the community what's going on. And you don't ask them the day after 3 gold medals.
Is there some questions you didn't get answered that you thought you would have answers for?
Sorry?
Is there a question you thought you wanted answers for that you didn't get?
No, from the IOC's perspective and the COC's perspective, I really got everything I needed. And really now, ball's in our court. That's a Summer Olympics analogy. But the ball's in our court to work with our partners at the Canadian Olympic Committee, at the Government of Canada, and Government of Alberta to figure out whether we want to move forward or